All right, hey, what's up, guys? Coach Mac, Play Fast Football. All right, sorry, it's been a little while since we've been doing some videos, but it's been a crazy couple months. Want to get back into it. Hopefully we are playing football again soon. Hopefully we are fully practicing again soon, whether it's in the next 2 weeks or possibly in the next 2 months or possibly in the spring. At some point, football is going to be back. Normalcy is going to be back. So want to get back into doing videos and you know, getting back to the things that we love doing the most. So make sure you check out some of our sponsors. We've got GameStrat, sideline replay system, #1 choice for coaches looking for reliable, highly affordable sideline replay system. Make sure you check out GameStrat. All right, Dome Hats, which is my headwear company that makes all of our hats for Play Fast Football and all of my stuff at the high school that I currently work at. Custom online hat builder. Make sure you check that out. Every hat has a story. Make sure you let Dome help you tell yours. Baker Sporting Goods is the company that outfits us for our team gear and our uniforms. We wear Adidas uniforms that we get from Baker Sporting Goods, and all my coaches' gear from on the sideline apparel to regular coaching apparel, practice apparel, winter apparel. It's all done through Baker Sports. They've been outfitting teams since 1997. One of the best in this area, so make sure you check out Baker Sports. Difference USA, the ultimate striking machine. All right, get thousands of reps striking without needing a partner, and how much better is there than a machine that's like that right now? All you would have to do is wipe the pad itself down, but nobody else ever touches it. After you strike it, you can wipe it down. You don't need to hit another body. Don't need to hit someone holding the hand shield. All right, you get thousands of reps on a shield without needing a partner, and you could disinfect, sterilize, clean it down, real simple. All right, so I think it's great during times like these. Story of the season, which is something about 2 weeks ago I got in contact with a guy named Chris who's the owner of the company, and they do some really good things. It's kind of like, in my opinion, having an SID on your campus in high school. They are going to capture everything that happens during the year. They're going to do week-by-week analysis and stories and game recaps with pictures and huddle highlights, and they are going to put all that together week by week so your kids can follow those stories week by week. And then at the end of the season, you're going to get the entire season in a subscription, all right, that your parents can have. Great gift to give away at a banquet. So make sure you check out Story of the Season on Twitter. It's Story the Season. HighandTight, which is a training aid that we started working with for ball security. Okay, so obviously HighandTight is the name. That ball's got to be held high and tight with all the proper points of pressure with the wrist and the forearm and the rib cage, and where it goes up, all right, up against the rib cage and the upper chest, and how much pressure you have to put to make sure that it is high and tight. That ball will make an auditory beep if you are holding it correctly. If you are not holding it correctly, it will make no sound at all. So when you get it up where you want it, if it doesn't make a beep, you're not holding that ball correctly. So you got to make sure you understand exactly where you want it, how you want it, all right, to get it up where it belongs, to make sure that you are doing it correctly. Ball security is job security. Make sure you use a training aid that's going to help you, all right, with your ball security. You hear us getting better. DC1, an in-game app that allows us to make critical in-game adjustments based on live in-game data. So you're reporting the data in through, all right, the app. So instead of charting it or writing it down by hand, it's getting into the app that already has tendencies and things listed, and now it's spitting it back out so that you know exactly what's going on in 2x2, what you've been calling, what they've been running, what's been good against what they've been doing 3x1. Are they going into the boundary? Are they going to the field? Are they going right, left, strong, weak? Now, instead of charting that by hand, you can put it in. All right, you already have tendencies and formations and things built out in your game plan. You put it in, it spits it all back to you in live time. So now you can make the exact adjustments you need to make, all right, without guessing. Take the guesswork out, all right, of adjustments and in-game adjustments, and let DC1 help you win more games. Just Play Football diagram tool that I use, digital software taking your program to the next level. Not only is it a play drawing tool, but it's also an educational tool to quiz your players on game plans and things of that nature. So make sure you check out Just Play Football. They were also at our Play Fast clinic, okay? I know a lot of people give us holy heck about doing 3 minutes worth of partner ads in the beginning of these videos, but guys, at the end of the day, you want to keep doing these videos. You got to be able to have sponsors out there and partners out there to make these things happen. All right, you've got to build relationships. We had a clinic that we put on. Have to build those relationships to have vendors. So you can always scrub through. You can always fast forward through if you don't like the sponsors and the ads. All right, sorry for your luck, but they have to be done if we want to continue doing this. So bear with it. Scrub through. Fast forward through. All right, it is what it is, guys. It's the nature of the beast. All right, today we're going to talk about coverage behind pressure, and the reason we're going to do it, All right, I talked about it on my Patreon site a little bit last week. Kind of did a video on it, going through some different things. And if we start with America's Blitz 5-man pressure, okay? Once we send 5-man pressure, we know that we only have 6 guys behind it to use in coverage, okay? If you understand about spots that are on the field, you understand that underneath you have 6 different zones that you have to cover, okay? So you've got working, out from the sideline, all right? Underneath you've got, all right, a flat area that you've got to cover, and you've got a curl area and a hook area, okay? And then on the other side you have a hook area and a curl area and a flat area, okay? So you have 6 underneath spaces, all right, that you need to defend, all right? So usually, and generally speaking in football, you're either going to play with 4 underneath defenders or 5 underneath defenders if you're playing simple zone concepts. If you're playing pattern matching concepts, you can get away with 1 less defender underneath because one of your high players may match a pattern down low based, based on the route distribution. In general, zone coverage concepts, you have to realize that you're either going to use 4 under, 3 deep, or 5 under, 2 deep. Okay, so you're either going to split the field in thirds, all right, with an extra player deep and lose a player underneath, which means you then end up, all right, usually in that scenario, you would have hook to curl defenders and curl to flat defenders. Because let's face it, guys, 4 underneath players can't cover 6 areas on the field. So you divvy those up to where 2 players on one side can cover 4 zones by being hook to curl players, curl to flat players. And then you would do that on both sides of the ball, okay? If you dropped with 5 underneath players, all right, if you had 5 underneath players, you now have 2 players in the flat, you have 2 players that can kind of be hook to curl, and then 1 guy that can kind of be hook to hook, or hook strong, hook weak. So you end up being able to almost, in essence, kind of flood, all right, one side because you have an extra underneath dropper. So if it was a 2x2 set and the back pushed this way, and I use my extra guy in coverage, okay, to that side, I could get a guy to the strong hook, strong curl, strong flat, and I have 3 for their 3 underneath, all right? But I would only have 2 deep droppers, all right? So now with 4 wide, 4 verticals against 2 deep droppers, if I don't do something to help that, all right, I now have 1 less defender. Instead of having 3 deep, now I have only 2 deep. And again, I'm just talking basic spot drop zone principles, just so you understand where I'm going to go to with the next part, okay? So when you go to a 5-man pressure, like this simple America's Blitz right here, where I've got a long stick from an end, nose working away, I've got my mic in the B and my stack linebacker off the C, okay? Behind that now, all right, behind that, I have 6 remaining players, okay, that I can use in coverage. All right, I'm sending 5. I have 6 remaining players that I can use in coverage. Well, generally speaking, the zones that we just talked about involve 7 players. So I am going to be voided out of a zone concept. In other words, if I tend or choose to play a zone concept, I will have to void out one of those areas. Okay, so generally speaking, or at least for us, I'm going to talk to you about what I do. When we send 5-man pressure, we can choose to be 4 under, 2 deep. We can choose to be 3 under, 3 deep, okay? Or we can choose to be man free. All right, that's as simple as we make it when we send 5. I know there's some people out there that say they could play some split field concepts, and based on, we have before 3x1, we have played mix to one side and lock man to man on the other side. Yes, I think you can do that. I'm talking about in general when we teach zone pressures, 5-man pressures. These are the 3 choices that we have behind them, okay? So when you understand those, that's what your 3 choices are, all right? Now from this pattern, I can use any one of those 3 choices if I chose to do so, okay? The reason I'm doing this video for you today is I'm going to tell you how I choose to teach it. I choose to match a coverage with a blitz pattern so that every time we run that blitz pattern, we understand exactly what the coverage is, okay? So behind our America's Blitz track, okay, we choose, all right, 4 under, 2 deep. Okay, and for us, all right, I happen to call that coverage trap. All right, now, I know it might not always be what you think of as trap and what maybe the big-time college guys, how they explain it, what they call it. I call it trap simply because our corners are trying to trap the flat routes from our normal two-read or our palms look. Okay, so the reason I call it trap is our corners, all right, are trying to, from our two-high palms look, our corners are trying to aggressively trap the flat. So we will aggressively, from 7 by 1 outside, jump to 5 by 1 or 2 inside of number 1. We probably won't get hands-on and funnel now, so this is a different cover 2 than you're used to. Okay? We are going to be off the half with a safety. We are going to be off the half with a safety. And then we're going to have two, all right, two seam players. Okay? In other words, trying to drop inside of those number 2 receivers, take away those seam throws. You know, you could call them 2 hook players if you wanted to, but they're kind of those 2 seam guys. Seam curl flat in a way into 3 under 3 deep, but you're missing an underneath player. You only have, I'm sorry, you are missing an underneath dropper as far as the interior droppers. You have an extra underneath player because you're 4 under because you are trapping, all right, the flats with the corners, all right, but in the hook to curl area, you're only 2 under, all right, so you don't have that middle hole dropper in between them. Okay, but you do have two seam droppers. Okay, now I've got it drawn up to 2 by 2. Any 2 receiver sets, 2 by 2, 2 by 1, it's a really good coverage to use. Where it will fall short sometimes is 3 by 1 to the 3 receiver side. All right, you can get spacing routes and some things underneath that can give you a little bit of trouble if you don't get home. Okay, so a lot of people will choose to blitz the formation. And if it's 3 by 1, they'll come with a different coverage behind that pressure. Now, could we do that, all right, from this coverage right here and this pattern right here? Could we roll the free safety down where the blitzers are coming from and pull the backside safety to the middle to play 3 under 3 deep? We certainly could. We still have, all right, we still have 5 players to play coverage. So if we chose, all right, if we chose to play 3 under 3 deep, okay, and we chose to play the free safety down, all right, so if we chose to play 2 seam or that skiff player, 2 seam or the skiff player, all right, middle hole, all right, middle hole dropper there, backside safety to the middle, and now play deep thirds on the outside. Could we do that? We 100% could. Do we do that with this blitz? No. With other blitzes? Yes. Now, why don't I do that behind this pattern? Because when I go to teach my kids the patterns from left and right, America's blitz with the coverages behind it, all right, for me, I think it's better for us to teach it with 1 pattern and 1 coverage behind it that we know we're going to play every time we run that pattern, so that I know when I call Gator, all right, or I call Knoll, or I call Rock, or I call Lake, or I call Rain, or I call Lightning, all right, whatever the pressure may be from the left or the right, and that's how we run our pressures, as simply from saying we're pressuring from the left or we're pressuring from the right. That's how I identify it to our kids, okay? So if I was running this laser pressure from the left, and I called it laser trap, and I told our kids we're running laser trap, they know that the laser blitz is coming from the left, okay? They know that the laser blitz is coming from the left, and they know that I want to run trap coverage. So what that allows us to do, okay, could I play 3 under 3 deep? Certainly I could. Could I play man free? Certainly I could. I have 6 players to cover, all right, their 5, however I want to do it, all right? Do we do that with other pressures? Certainly I do. The reason behind this video is I'm trying to tell you for us, and maybe something that you can do to alleviate some overthinking by your players, is to match coverages with pressure patterns. So when we go trap behind this pressure, we automatically know that the free safety is going to go to the blitz side and play the deep half. Okay? That means that the down safety is going to automatically to the blitz side. The down safety is going to automatically go down, and he's going to be that 2, all right, kind of that 2 hook player. The backside safety knows that he's going to be a deep half player. Okay? So, right away within the teaching, I tell the kids right away, hey, we're running laser, free safety, what do you got to do? Liz, Liz, Liz. Set the call and the passing strength to the laser blitz. That tells the down safety to the left to be down. That tells him he's going to be, all right, extra in the run game, and he's going to be that two hook or two seam player. All right, depending on what your terminology is and how you want to teach it. That tells the backside safety. I made a Liz call here. I said, Liz. That tells my backside safety I'm going to be playing the deep half in this pressure. Okay, I'm going to be playing the deep half in this pressure. So I know that away from the blitz, that safety has the half. To the blitz, that safety is the, all right, extra run fitter, two hook player. The corners are trap players. The backer that doesn't go is the other two hook or two seam, all right, player there, depending on what your terminology is. So now, no matter what I want to do with the pattern up here, okay, so sometimes we go and we, all right, sometimes we go and we mug the mic and send them first, long stick second, lion off the edge third. We change the pattern, but we leave the coverage. So it stays, it's, you know, laser X trap, okay? We may want to long stick the end first, bring the lion into B gap second, and bring the mic third, okay? And change the track of the pattern and say, hey, all right, that's laser knife trap. But what we do is we leave the trap coverage behind it for teaching purposes so that they know every time we're running the laser pressure, it's going to be trap. And the formations, we are going to try not to check or blitz by formation. We're going to blitz left, right, middle, 5-man pressure, 6-man pressure, 7-man pressure, but we're not going to blitz the formation. Not saying that I don't agree with blitz the formation. I think it's a great way to play football, and we did that for a long, long time. What ended up happening was I think we made almost as many busts and mistakes changing the blitzes and getting guys where they belonged as we made plays in it. So as I got older and more experienced, and much to the videos I do at Play Fast Football, I found a way to make things simpler for us. We're going to run multiple tracks up here by tagging this, but the coverage is going to stay the same, okay? Because we need to be sound in these tracks, and I know a lot of people are going to say, well, if you can change the coverage tracks, you can change the coverage. I am going to change the coverage. I'm just going to put it behind another pattern. I'm not going to put it behind, all right, this particular America's Blitz pattern. So when I change this up front, yes, if this is wrong, this can get you beat in a hurry as well, but I still think we can keep everything in front of us if the coverage doesn't bust. The coverage bust is the one, to me, that gets you in a lot of trouble, okay? Now listen to me. We don't start with all three patterns up front. We start with America's Blitz. Once we can handle that pattern, we go and we get to a knife adjustment or a loop adjustment off of that pattern. But we don't change the coverage behind it. All right, so that you'll say, well, they're going to know that every time you run that blitz pattern, you're a trap 4 under 2 deep team. Yeah, but if you disguise it right in the secondary, they don't see the blitz pattern until after the ball is snapped. So if you don't give them a way to see the blitz pattern first, it's hard for them to say that you are going to be 4 under 2 deep every time you run America's Blitz, because if you disguise the coverage right, all right, and you hold that 2 high shell and those trap corners hold, they don't see the blitz pattern until after the snap of the ball, if that makes sense. All right, now, at the same time, there are also times where I may want to play. All right, I may want to play 3 under 3 deep. Now, the way that we do it, all right, is I'm going to use my 3 under 3 deep stuff. I'm going to use my 3 under 3 deep stuff by sending the 2 stack backers, okay, and always leaving the mic as the middle hole part of the coverage, so that if I ever get 3 by 1, since we're not going to blitz the formation, the mic is always in a position where he can bump a little bit to the trips to be that 3 dropper right there, okay? So what I'll do is I'll come with either a bullets pattern, all right, so just a simple bullets pattern with both those stack backers and the B gaps, okay? And now I'll just roll the 2 safeties down, and I'll put the free safety in the middle, Okay, and now there's your two seam. There's your two seam, all right, skiff. If it makes you more comfortable, or if you've been taught as seam curl flat. We do not match, carry, deliver our 3 under 3 deeps. We play them as hot pressures. And again, I know to each his own. You do things however you want to do them. We don't teach match, carry, deliver. We don't play rip, liz, pattern, match, cover 3. So for me to teach match, carry, deliver as a pressure, all right, is a little bit too involved when I don't teach it as a base defense. I don't want another thing to teach. We already play vision and break. So when we play 3 under 3 deep, we still talk about two seam, middle hole, because I think you have to understand that the throws that you're trying to defend. But as far as the technique, we don't match, carry, deliver. We don't line up the same as a lot of people do. We actually play our underneath guys, all right, in 3 under 3 deep. We actually play, and you've heard this in other videos I've done, we play them as vision and break guys. So all three of my droppers, so 1, 2, 3, by the time the ball snaps, they're all going to be heels on a cliff at about 6 to 8 yards, depending on down and distance. And they will bounce. They will not take steps forward. They will not take steps back. They will bounce. If it's run, all right, they will fit where needed based on where they think the run is going. If it's pass, they will melt off the cue. Cue looks one way, they melt. He looks the other way, they melt. His front hand comes off. We are going to turn and drive, and we drill it all the time. We rep it all the time. All right, so because we send 6 and we play 2 under 3 deep hot coverage, when I go to 3 under 3 deep, okay, when I go to 3 under 3 deep, I play hot coverage because I've already taught it to the kids, and I just put an extra guy in the middle playing hot coverage, and now we're 3 under playing vision and break, not match, carry, deliver. Again, why don't I play match, carry, deliver? We don't teach it. We don't play rip, liz, match, cover 3. If we did, I would teach match, carry, deliver every day of the week because I've already taught it to most of those guys. Because we are a 2-high pattern match, palms, quarters, and with different rules than match, carry, deliver, I don't want to teach another pattern match to my guys. So when we go to pressure, all right, we alleviate some of the problems of new teachings by stealing other concepts. So because we play 2 under 3 deep vision and break, I will then go to 3 under 3 deep vision and break. Will we cover things as tightly as teams that match, carry, deliver? No, we will not. Okay, should we be able to fit runs a little bit better? In my opinion, yes, we should, because we're not going to match routes that are to the flat, or we're not going to match it to the flat. Will there be things teams do that give us problems that we could defend better and match, carry, deliver? Yes. Will there be things that we can take away better in vision and break? Yes. So it's not the answer, the magic bullet, the face melter for every scenario, but what it does is it allows me to teach in a way that I'm comfortable. I've already taught vision and break hot stuff. I'm comfortable doing it. I just add a third dropper in there to do it. Okay? So for us, when we go 3 under 3 deep, we're going to send usually our stack players. Okay? We're going to send our stack players, and it's usually going to be some type of bullets concept. Okay? Now, can I run any other patterns and do it? Sure I can. All right? I could pinch and get into a bear look. I could pinch these two ends. Okay? I could pinch these ends, and I could bring the stacks off the edge. Okay, and get into a post-snap bear look. Sure I could, okay? But what I try to do is when I get into a bear look, that's when I go to man-free coverages, all right? So, excuse me, when I get into a different bear pattern is where I'm going to go to our man-free deals, okay? So our 3 under 3 deeps for us are usually bullets, okay? All right, they're usually bullets. All right, or they're usually what we would call sword pressures. All right, and by that, what I mean is a stack and a safety from the same side. Okay, so if I wanted to bring a sword pressure, and a lot of times with a back set here up versus zone read team, a lot of times, okay, we like to do this. All right, we like to bring 2 off the edge and then try and chase and cancel gaps from there. All right, so if we get this pressure right here, we're going to go long stick off the edge, but you're the chase player. Safety off the edge, and you're the high wall QB player. So you become the QB player or the outside part of option football. Something I suggest you talk to your kids about, inside part, outside part instead of dive quarterback, because with all the dash and flash and power read and stuff like that, quarterback sometimes becomes the dive. So outside part, inside part, okay? Love it to the side of the back versus zone read teams. Now, if we're going to do that, though, that means we have to have some type of rotation where the free safety has to be down, the backside safety has to be to the middle, and now my three droppers become the Mike, the Ram, and the left safety, okay? So that is the only other way we will play 3 under 3 deep, all right, with what we call sword concepts, because it's a stack and a safety from the same side. So we word associated sword, stack and safety same side, we call those sword type pressures, all right? So when we want to bring 2 off the edge, all right, like that versus zone read teams and try and get them to think they're going to read 1 off the edge and then 1 guy chases and we got a high wall player sitting for him, we will roll down and play, all right, 3 under 3 deep. So for us, we only play 3 under 3 deep behind bullets or swords, all right, behind bullets or swords, okay? And then we like to play man free behind our bear looks. Okay, so for us, because I like it so much better against 21 personnel, I want to play traditional bear front defense when I get 21 personnel, when I get a tight end and 2 backs in there. All right, I know you don't see it a lot anymore, but I now want to play more, all right, traditional bear style defenses. Okay, so for us, all right, when we go to bear, we take the ends down as 3 techniques. We usually, all right, will try and lag the nose through the center and play behind the blocks there. But then, anytime we go to these types of looks, we play this. Now, could we play voided out zone coverages? Yes, I've seen teams play combination coverages from bear. You can do whatever you want. That's the beauty of the game. As soon as we go to bear, we play man free. And we don't even fool with anything else. Okay, the only thing we fool with from this look is adding a 6th rusher and playing 0. And we will add this guy, we will fool around with him as a cut player. All right. Spy player on the QB. We will double one of their best receivers. So in the game plan, we will do things with that free safety. But most of the time for us, if we're going bear, we are going old school bear, man free. All right, and now obviously because the tight end's over here, corner's got 1, left safety's got 2, Mike has 3, corner's got 1. It's a pro set. They can't have, if it's 2 by 1 with 2 back, they can't have anybody else, so you got to have that other back in the backfield. All right, and then we just go through all the formations of how we need to play it man and why we need to play it. Okay, but for us, our bear stuff is going to go to, all right, man free for us. So what we do is then, for the simplicity of what we're trying to get to, okay, we just pair it all up. All right, and this is nothing new. You guys all play man free. You all play 4 under 2 deep. You all play 3 under 3 deep. I'm just telling you how we do things. We then pair it up and we say, look, if we're going to run America's pattern, okay, we are going to play trap, which for us is 4 under 2 deep. Okay, if we're going to come with what we talked about with bullets or swords, all right, we are going to play 3 under 3 deep. And remember for us, I'll make a little note for you, we play it vision and break. Most people play it match, carry, deliver. It should probably be taught as match, carry, deliver. We play it as vision and break because I believe we can do it. I know what I'm trying to take away. I know what's going to hurt me. All right. And in the game of football, there is no set rule that says when you bring a certain pressure, you have to play a certain coverage. You can do whatever you want. All right. So we play it as vision and break. As soon as we go to bear, okay, we go to man free. Now, when you're talking about 5-man pressures, and this is where you can get as exotic as you want, all right, as simple as you want, we can play any version of these coverages behind any version of those pressures at any time we wanted to. Okay, at any time we wanted to, as long as we send 5 and have 6 guys to cover. And that's where you get into clinic conversations and party conversations and bar conversations on napkins. You know, you can get, if you drew 3 under 3 deep, all right, and let's just say you drew these as X's. You can come up with patterns that are as crazy and exotic as you like, and you could drop, this could be the nose, All right, so this could be a nose that dropped here, and this could be an end that dropped here. You could be bringing a corner and dropping a safety to a third. You can get as crazy and as exotic with the patterns as you want, okay? But at the end of the day, when the ball gets snapped, you've got to be able to execute all that, and you can't just fool somebody in the game of football. You actually have to execute something, all right? So we choose to pair the coverages we play with the pressure so that with the reps that we get, time in and time out again, our communication should be efficient. We know the coverage we should be playing behind the pressure. We're not going to check it, all right, very often, if at all. So we know when we get formations, we know that we got to make slight adjustments. We know that certain formations will give us a little bit of an issue, okay, versus certain teams. So maybe certain pressures are better versus those teams. We very rarely, if ever, in my last 6 years have we blitzed the formation. We used to be a heavy blitz the formation team, and I just got away from it. Again, I don't disagree with it. I don't think it's bad football. We busted it, and it's probably teaching, I get it. We busted it more than it bonused or helped us, so I got away from it, all right? I want communication. I want reps. I want our kids to execute. We know when we tie these things together, they now know that that coverage is being played behind that pressure, and it's usually the same guys playing the same jobs. So if we go bullets, our outside safeties, they already know how to play hot because they do it in our six-man pressure. We add the Mike as that inside vision and break hot player, and we play ball. Okay? So it's not very complicated for us. There's carryover. We've already taught it in some other things. All right? So hope this helps you guys with how we choose to play some coverage behind pressure. Hope it helps you understand that behind five-man pressure, you could have a few different choices, and there's many other choices that I didn't even go through, okay, because I don't want to play them because I think they're a little bit too involved for us. But there's a lot of formational things to 3x1. I'll draw up a quick one just for argument's sake. Just so I don't want people to come back and say, well, Coach Max said you can only play these things. No, I said that's what we play. All right, so if we send 5, all right, if we send 5, we play primarily those coverages, okay? But, all right, but you could very easily you could very easily, and we've done this before, just adding a solid tag to it, you could very easily, and you can gap it out however you want if you want to move him into a 4-eye, the trips, or whatever you want, all right? You could, for right now, I'm just going to draw it up like this, all right? Just by adding that backer on, we can play our base mix coverage to this side, which is our normal 3x1 check that doesn't need our backside safety, and we already have 4-on-3 built in. All right, we already have 4-on-3 built in, and now we'll go ahead and play number 1 man and number 2 man, okay? Especially when the back is to the single side, because we're not worried about getting 4 strong. So if the back is to the single side, a lot of times we'll make this and we just call it a solid check, okay? And we could call solid ram, we could call solid safe, okay, or we could call solid cobra, and we could bring any